Right. So Unit 5, Lesson 2, this time we're still solving systems, but this time we want to do it by substitution. So remember that substitution, when I'm substituting something in, it just means I'm plugging stuff in, right? Plugging in. So let's go ahead. We already know what a system is and what a system looks like, so let's go ahead and look at 1. Let's say I have 3x minus 2y is equal to 5. And y equals 4x minus 5. Now this one is already set up for substitution, meaning I have one of the variables already solved. It's already by itself. I know that y is the same thing as 4x minus 5. And so I'm going to take 4x minus 5 and I'm going to put it, substitute it in to where y is in the other equation. So this equation, the top equation, will become 3x minus 2. Now instead of y, I'm going to put parentheses and put what y is equal to. 4x minus 5 equals 5. Now I'm going to use our algebra, right? I'm going to distribute to simplify this equation and solve for x. So I'm going to distribute the negative 2, and I get 3x minus 8x plus 10 equals 5, right? My 3x comes down. Negative 2 times 4x gives me negative 8x. Negative 2 times negative 5 gives me positive 10. And then bring down my equal sign, bring down my 5. 3x and negative 8x are like terms. 3x minus 8x is negative 5x plus 10 equals 5. And now I'll just solve. So I'm going to subtract 10 from both sides. I get negative 5x equals negative 5, divide both sides by negative 5, and I get x is equal to 1. Now, just like with elimination, once I have one of my variables, I know that x is 1, I'm going to take it and I'm going to plug it back into either one of my original equations and solve for the other one. So I need to plug in 1 for x and figure out what y is. So I'm going to use this equation, but it wouldn't matter which one I would use. So I have y equals 4 times 1 minus 5. So I get y equals 4 minus 5. So I get y equals negative 1. So I know x is 1, y is negative 1, so we could leave it like that, or we could write it as an actual coordinate, 1 comma negative 1. And there is my solution. Alright, so this one was already set up for substitution. So let's look at one where I would have to manipulate it so that it would work for substitution. So another example, let's say I have negative 4x plus 3y equals negative 6. And I have, excuse me, 2x minus 4y equals negative 2. Now, neither one of these equations are solved for either one of the variables, and so we kind of have to identify what would be the easiest variable to get all by itself. Something to think about, to get this x by itself, I'm going to end up having to divide by negative 4. If I divide everything by negative 4, this is going to give me a fraction, 3 over negative 4, and this is going to give me a fraction, negative 6 over negative 4. Same thing if I divide by this 3. Negative 4 over 3, that's going to give me a fraction. Negative 6 over 3 isn't, but I still will have this fraction. So I really don't want to deal with any of this stuff in this equation. So let's come down to the second equation. If I solve for x, I'll be dividing by 2. Negative 4 is definitely divisible by 2, and so is negative 2. So solving for x seems like the easiest thing to do. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to solve the second equation for x. I'm going to get x all by itself. So that means I need to add 4y to both sides. So I get 2x equals negative 2 plus 4y, or 4y minus 2, whichever one, same thing. And I'm going to divide everything by 2. So I get x equals negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. 4y divided by 2 is 2y. So now, just like in the first example, I have one of my variables solved. So I can take what x is equal to, this negative 1 plus 2y, and I'm going to plug it into the other equation, not the one I just solved, but the other equation for x. I'm going to put it right here where this x is. All right, so I'm going to come down here, I'm going to rewrite, just so we know what we're doing. I'm going to plug it in to negative 4x plus 3y equals negative 6 in x's spot. So that will give me negative 4 parentheses negative 1 plus 2y, right? I just replaced it. And then the rest of the equation, plus 3y equals negative 6. And now again, I need to distribute, simplify, and solve for y. So I'm going to distribute this negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 1 gives me positive 4. Negative 4 times 2y gives me negative 8y. Plus 3y equals negative 6. Now combine my like terms. Negative 8y plus 3y is negative 5y. So 4 minus 5y equals negative 6. And now I just want to solve for y. So I'll subtract 4 from both sides. And I get negative 5y equals negative 10. Divide both sides by negative 5. And I get y equals positive 2. Now, just like with elimination, I know what one of my variables is equal to. It's equal to 2. So I need to pick any one of my equations, doesn't matter which one at all, to figure out what the other variable is. Now, we already solved this for x, so it really would be easier to plug my y value back into this equation that we solved for. But it doesn't matter which one you choose, so I'll work the same. So I'm going to choose to plug 2 in for this y. So I get x equals negative 1 plus 2 times 2. So x equals negative 1 plus 4. So x equals positive 3. Now I know that y is 2 and x is 3. So I could write this as a coordinate 3, 2. Okay? All right, if y'all have questions, let me know.